20th of January, 20th, 2026. A freezing night in Norway. Manchester City, with a squad worth over £1 billion, just lost 3-1 to a team from a fishing town north of the Arctic Circle. Their captain, sent off for 2 yellow cards in less than a minute. Their defense, non-existent. Their manager, staring into the abyss. This isn't supposed to happen to Pep Guardiola, the philosopher, the perfectionist, the man who redefined modern football. But right now, after spending nearly £500 million in a year on 15 new players, City aren't just losing, they're humiliating themselves on the biggest stages. What you're about to witness is the unraveling of a dynasty, the collapse of a genius, and the most shocking fall from grace football has ever seen. To understand Pep Guardiola's spectacular fall, we have to go back to where the legend was born. Barcelona, 1990. Johan Cruyff's dream team was taking shape, and tucked away in their midfield was a scrawny kid named Josep Guardiola. He wasn't the fastest, wasn't the strongest, but he had something else. A football brain that could read the game 3 moves ahead. Under Cruyff's guidance, Pep learned that football wasn't just about winning, it was about how you won. By the time he hung up his boots in the 2001, Guardiola had tasted everything. Champions League glory, 4 straight La Liga titles, the captain's armband at the greatest club in the world. But retirement was never the plan. 2008, Barcelona were in crisis, trophyless and directionless. The board made a gamble that would change football forever. They handed the keys to their former midfielder. What happened next was pure magic. In his first season, Guardiola's Barcelona didn't just win the treble, they reinvented the beautiful game. Tiki-taka became poetry in motion. Lionel Messi evolved from promising youngster to unstoppable force. They won 14 trophies in 4 seasons and made football look like art. Bayern Munich came calling in 2013. 3 Bundesliga titles in 3 years. Then Manchester City in 2016, where Pep would build his masterpiece. The Centurions, the Treble, 6 Premier League titles in 7 years. He turned Manchester City from noisy neighbours into the most dominant force English football had ever seen. By 2023, he wasn't just a manager. He was football's closest thing to a god. But gods, as history teaches us, can fall. And when they do, the crash is always spectacular. What nobody could have predicted was just how far Pep Guardiola would fall. Fast forward to January 2026, and the nightmare isn't just continuing, it's getting worse. After a humiliating trophyless 2024-25 season that saw them finish 3rd in the Premier League, lose the FA Cup final to Crystal Palace, and get knocked out of the Champions League by Real Madrid, City went on a spending spree. The solution seemed obvious: spend more. And spend they did. Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth for £64 million. Mark Guehi from Crystal Palace for £20 million. Add those to the summer signings, and City's transfer spend over the last 12 months has reached a staggering £446 million on 15 players. 15 new faces trying to fix what was fundamentally broken. The media narrative was perfect. Semenyo scored on his FA Cup debut against Exeter. He looked sharp, he looked hungry. Guehi, the England international, would finally solve their defensive crisis. For a brief moment, it looked like Pep had found the answer. The rebuild was working. Then reality hit like a freight train. January 17th, 2026, Old Trafford, the Manchester derby. Michael Carrick's first game as Manchester United's new head coach. City were favourites, but what unfolded was a masterclass in humiliation. United dominated from start to finish. Brian Mbeumo scored in the 65th minute. Patrick Dorgu added a second in the 76th. 2-0, City managed just 1 shot on target all game. Their second lowest expected goals haul since Guardiola took charge nearly a decade ago. But if you thought that was bad, wait until you hear what happened next. January 20th, 2026, Aspmyra Stadium, Bodo, Norway. A fishing town with a population of 55,000, north of the Arctic Circle. Manchester City, the £1 billion squad with some of the world's best players, travelled to face Bodo/Glimt in the Champions League. On paper, this should have been routine. City were fighting for a top 8 finish to avoid extra fixtures in February. Bodo/Glimt had never won a Champions League match at home. What happened next will go down as one of the most humiliating results in Champions League history. 22nd minute. Kasper Ho, completely unmarked, heads home from a cross. City's makeshift defense, still without Guehi, who hadn't been registered in time, stood frozen. 2 minutes later, Max Allin, the young defender, made a horror error on halfway. The ball fell to Ho again. 2-0. The 8,000 capacity stadium erupted. City looked shell-shocked. For 58 minutes, they tried to claw their way back. Then Jens Petter Hauge curled an absolute screamer into the top corner. 3-0. The cameras caught everything. Pep Guardiola on the touchline, hands on his head, the look of a man watching his legacy crumble in real time. Ryan Cherki pulled one back in the 60th minute, a glimmer of hope. But then came the moment that perfectly summed up Manchester City's season. 62nd minute. Rodri, the Ballon d'Or winner, the man who was supposed to save them, picked up 2 yellow cards in 53 seconds. Sent off. Captain for the night, walking off in disgrace. 3-1. Final score. Bodo/Glimt's first ever Champions League win. Manchester City's most embarrassing European result in years.
Obviously disappointing this evening. How do you explain that performance and the result tonight?
Well, everything looks like it's against us recently. So we started pretty well in many things, and we found the spaces, and the players were incredibly committed, especially when we beat 10 against 11, how they fought. But yeah, the thing is against, and for the situation to score 2 goals in 2 minutes was more difficult, and after we want to be, we bounced back with a 3-1, and after that was more difficult, for the red card, more difficult to.
The post-match reaction said everything. This wasn't just about tactics anymore. This was about a complete psychological breakdown. A team that had forgotten how to win, forgotten how to fight, forgotten the very principles that made them great. And here's the truly terrifying part. All those January signings, all that money, all those promises of a rebuild, none of it mattered. Semenyo couldn't fix the midfield. Guehi couldn't even get on the pitch in time. The same defensive errors, the same lack of cohesion, the same collapse under pressure. Pep Guardiola spent nearly £500 million in 12 months, 15 new players. And somehow, Manchester City are worse than they were before. They're 6 points behind Arsenal in the title race after that derby defeat. Their Champions League top 8 hopes are hanging by a thread after losing to a Norwegian team most people had never heard of. Their confidence is shattered. The man who once made Barcelona pass teams to death, who turned tiki-taka into an art form, is now watching his players forget the most basic principles of football. The man who built the greatest club side in Premier League history is now presiding over one of the most spectacular collapses the game has ever seen. Behind the scenes, it's even worse. The 115 charges still loom over the club. Whispers of point deductions, potential relegation, personal turmoil, professional disasters, legal battles, public humiliation, each blow landing heavier than the last. Pep's contract runs until 2027, but whispers suggest he might not make it through this season. The board that once backed him unconditionally is asking uncomfortable questions. The fans who worshipped him are starting to turn. Even Rodri, the man who was supposed to be the savior, is part of the problem now. Is this how legends die? Not with glory, but with the slow, agonizing realization that time conquers everyone, that even £500 million can't fix what's fundamentally broken, that sometimes the greatest managers in history become victims of their own success. Or can Pep Guardiola pull off one final miracle? Can he turn this disaster into redemption? We're about to find out, because with every passing week, every humiliating defeat, every failed signing, the pressure grows heavier. The nightmare isn't over, it's only just begun, and the whole world is watching to see if the greatest manager of all time can rise from the ashes, or if this is truly the end of an era. Don't forget to hit that like button if you want more brutal breakdowns of football's biggest stories. Hit subscribe and ring that notification bell. Trust me, with the way this season is going for Manchester City, there's going to be plenty more chaos to analyse.